to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV. You're here with Amanda Hall Psychic all the way from the Gold Coast here in Australia. I hope you've had an absolutely sensational and fantastic week wherever you are in this globe of ours. I know that it was an interesting week for many of us as we went through the full moon in Pisces, and I know for many people, because my inbox was very full, that it seemed to drag up a lot of old emotions, things that we thought that we dealt with that were sort of long past, and all of a sudden they reared their little head again and said, "Yoo-hoo, do you remember me? I need some attention." So it was a difficult time for some people on the emotions, but for other people it was very, very liberating. It was like finally they could sort of kiss goodbye many, many areas of their life that they were ready to release and let go of, and feel enthusiastic and excited about the next full moon coming up in about 3.5 weeks' time, where it'll move into Aries. So it's a very positive time when we look at things like that. So on the theme of emotions, it's interesting, the card of the week this week that I've drawn from the Simply Tarot deck is the moon. So the moon card obviously represents emotions. It's emotions up or down. It can be deception or delays. Now, it's interesting when we look at deception or delays with the moon card, because quite often the deception or the delays are coming from within or are coming from us. We may be deceiving ourselves or others because we're not prepared to take a good, long, hard look at our emotions and what's triggering our emotions. Now, a lot of people, when they look at this card, sort of say, well, what are those two wolves doing? Well, yes, they're howling at the moon, and then further down in the water, we can see a scorpion there. And no, this card doesn't necessarily represent just the sign of Scorpio. I feel it's sort of indicating to all of us there's different times in our lives when emotional triggers come up and make us have to really have a long, hard look at what's going on in our lives and the things that maybe we've been deceiving ourselves or delaying in looking at. So it is a very powerful card. I always look at anything like this as emotions can be positive or negative. It's how you choose to view your own personal television screen and what's going on in your life. So just be aware of that. We are still, even though the full moon is over, we are still feeling the after effects of it. And it's like, as it sort of winds down and becomes further and further into the distance, just be conscious and aware of any emotions that are coming to the surface, and make sure you're not deceiving yourself in the way that things need to be handled or what we need to look at, and be able to move forward in a positive light. So, you know, as we move through the zodiac this week, we do find that it is a very powerful week astrologically. I say that every week, I know, but it just seems to be we don't get a breather or a reprieve from sort of such powerful transits going on in the zodiac at the moment. And it's interesting when you see how that it sort of plays out on the world stage, and particularly in the political arena. Every week there seems to be some new drama somewhere around the world, somebody sort of trying to get more attention than the next person. But astrologically this week, I want to focus on a couple of key point areas. Presently at this second, we've got the moon holding hands with Uranus. Now, we've just been talking about the moon in the card of in tarot, but the moon in astrology doesn't take on any different flavour. It is still emotions. It can still be very powerful. It can still be deceptive. It can still be trying to delay things. It can be sort of our emotions sort of running out of control, whether that's good or bad, but it's a very amplified sort of energy. Now, when you've got the moon, the luminary, holding hands or conjunct a very powerful outer planet called Uranus, which is like the bolt of lightning, the thing that comes out of nowhere that sort of strikes the ground and says, woo, well, now you're going to pay attention to me because I've arrived. And it's sitting in an earth sign, which should be very grounding and looking at very practical, logical sort of areas of our life, and particularly finances and the things that I own and the things that are important to me. And that means our value systems as well. So when you've got such an emotionally charged conjunction or a holding hands situation with a planet that can create things out of nowhere, and we're trying to find some sort of balance in all this, we now sort of enter into, whether it's on a personal level, whether it's on a professional level, or whether it's on the global stage, whether it's politically or dealing with other countries where we're trying to negotiate deals and things like that, be aware that emotions are going to be incredibly charged at the moment. Everybody is sort of jockeying to be heard, wanting their opinion to be the most important one, as we somehow or another try and sift our way through all this and find some sort of common ground or some sort of balance, some sort of way that we can balance the ledger. Then when we look at the opposite situation to this, we then sort of have other areas of our lives that are sort of being opposed by things that are sort of saying, well, okay, do we really want change in our lives? We're sort of saying yes, other people are sort of saying no. But we also have, you know, sort of choices and decisions that need to be made. Then we need to look at another important area astrologically this week. We're still sitting in an earth sign energy. We're still sitting with Mars holding hands or conjunct the sun in Virgo. So again, this very sort of masculine, sort of driving sort of energy, holding hands and sort of saying, this is what drives me. This is my passion. My passion is this. So I come back to, again, we're going to see some very passionate, not necessarily positive, but some statements that are coming from world leaders and things like that. And it's been interesting that there's been sort of very vague sort of talk of maybe war over oil. Does that surprise you when we've got all these very colourful characters around the world all wanting to be the top dog? And this is where I think we need to be sort of careful that we don't blow this all out of all proportion and really look at what is the driving force behind this, that we're not just letting our emotions run away with us. So I hope that the political leaders are taking heed of this. You know, I know they're not watching the show, but, you know, if they intuitively sort of start to pick up on this, that maybe they could modify their own behaviour, wouldn't that be a nice change? And start to put the globe as a whole into the frame instead of just their own personal needs or their own desires to be famous or make the greatest statement on social media today. Let's put the planet first for a change and the people that live on it. So this takes me to our candle of the week this week, and I've chosen the candle called Wishcraft. Now, the reason I chose this one was I thought it was time we all had an opportunity to sort of maybe bring a wish or two to us. Now, when I designed this candle, I designed it to be sort of like a neutral sort of candle. It could be something that you could use for anything, whether it was trying to bring peace and tranquility into your life, whether it was trying to bring meditative energies, whether it was trying to increase your finances, whether it was trying to get answers. It was a candle that you could change and change daily if you wanted to change with your changing desires and needs. So it's got nothing at all to do with witchcraft. It's called Wishcraft with an S. And the name actually, I must have channeled intuitively off the show Bewitched that was around many, many years ago. There was a couple of episodes where Andorra actually used the word wishcraft. So I've always believed in that we can craft our own wishes. If we truly believe in something long enough and we really put the right energy into it, we can achieve our wishes by sheer utter hard work, determination, and believing in that we deserve what is coming our way. So that's our candle of the week this week. Yeah, the usual rules apply. Write out 3 things that you might want to attract to yourself and 3 things that maybe you want to let go, or you can just leave it as purely things that you're trying to draw into your life. But I always like to balance the ledger with something we're releasing as well as something that we're attracting to us. So that's the Wishcraft candle. This is an extra large one. It'll burn for approximately 100 hours. So rather than sort of make up a gift box of 3 Wishcraft candles, I thought I'd show you that you can make up your gift box set with any candles that you like. I've got the Good Luck, the Simply Tarot candle and the Love candle in here. But it's just showing you that our gift box sets have such versatility that you don't have to just pick one fragrance or one particular candle. You can make it up to suit individual needs. And these are a really great idea as you start heading towards the holiday season and start looking for little gifts to give people that you don't want to spend a lot of money on, but you still want to show your appreciation and your love for those. So for those of you that don't want to work with a flame, but you want to still work with the energy of one of our lovely candles, you can pick up a melt warmer at your department store or your supermarket. These are fairly inexpensive. They are electric. You just take 2 teaspoons of your soy wax and then add about half a teaspoon a day. And this will give you the opportunity to work with the candle magic, but in a safer way where we're not working with a flame. And for many of you, that sort of works well because you want to pop one in the office or where you're working, or you've got small children or animals that you sort of think it's a little bit dangerous to have a flame. Well, this is your safe alternative. So they're called an electric melt warmer. In some countries, they're called tart warmers. So they just basically, they're like a glorified oil burner, except they're an electric version and we don't have a flame. And that's what I like about them, is that they're much safer option to work with. So we're going to work with now our famous person of the week. And this week, I'm happy to say that we're going to be working with the one and only Whoopi Goldberg. Now, Whoopi Goldberg is an interesting lady. I mean, she's one of my all-time favourites. Any movie that Whoopi's in, I always know that I'm going to thoroughly enjoy it, because she's got the ability to be so versatile as an actress. There isn't anything, I think, that Whoopi can't do, from sort of being on a chat show and really asking very logical, hard-hitting sort of questions and getting to the core of everything that we all wanted to know with her guest in front of her, to one of the world's greatest actresses ever. And, you know, Whoopi shows her ability to be able to sort of put herself into many different roles, whether it's comedy from Sister Act or whether she's able to sort of play very dramatic roles. And one of the first films that I ever really remember seeing Whoopi in, where I took notice of who she was and the dramatic sort of actress she could be, was The Colour Purple. And it was a movie that had so many different messages in there to share. It was one of those movies you could go back and watch 2 or 3 times, and each time you watch it, you get a completely different message, or you take something else from the movie. She played such an amazing part in that. And I think that was when she got my attention at, wow, here's a very powerful African-American actress who was really able to get a message across and deliver it well. And then, of course, you know, she was one of the first African-American ladies to win awards for her craft. And that sort of, I think, motivated a lot of other young women and young men from African-American descent and other nationalities to know that, you know, the world is becoming a more equal place. And if you really work hard and believe in what you do, rewards can come. But I think probably my favourite movie of all time that Whoopi Goldberg was in, I remember going to the cinema, seeing it and being really disappointed when the picture finished and thought, I wonder when the next session is, I wonder if I can stay and watch it again, was Ghost, where she played the fortune teller, or the one that was able to contact the dearly departed, and they were all queuing up and pushing and shoving and whatever and wanting to be heard and get their message across. I'm pleased to say it's not maybe quite like that in real life, but I can imagine that, you know, in some cases, I'm sure it is a little bit like that, where they're all queuing up from the other side and wanting to get through and sort of wanting to be heard. So I think that what Whoopi did with that movie, besides Patrick Swayze doing what he did and doing it so well, and then there was that beautiful love scene with the pottery with Demi Moore, was that I think Whoopi brought it out into the open, that we all started to have conversations about the other side, and our belief systems in our dearly departed have really just left the physical body, but they're still there, they still love us, they're still able to make communication with us, they still know what's going on in our lives. And love doesn't die just because they've departed the physical body, that love is something that goes on for eternity. So even though it was a sort of a romantic comedy, I think there was an awful lot of truth in that. And it started people having conversations around the world about their belief system. So she really did us a favour by starring in that role, and she did it so well. Anyway, we're going to take our first call today, and it's Nikki in Sacramento in California. Are you there, Nikki? Hello, Nikki.
Hello.
How are you, Nikki? Do you have a question I can work with, sweetie?
Oh, yes. I wanted to know if I'm on the right, if I'm going on the right path finally, like in my direction of life. I don't know.
Okay, Nikki, that's a good question to ask, because quite often people sort of don't really question whether or not they're actually on the right path. And the first thing that they're showing me on an energetic level is, Nikki, that, you know, the path that you've been on has been very long, been very windy, and it's had a few twists and turns, and you've fallen over a few times and got up and dusted yourself off and gone again. And, you know, you're constantly questioning and asking, is this the right direction? And I think that's a very healthy way of looking at things, that you haven't just taken it for granted, well, this is where I'm meant to be and I'll just keep going regardless. You know, you are questioning.
I think I'm just starting. I feel like I'm just starting.
Okay, you might feel as if you're just starting, but what they were showing me, Nikki, was that whether you feel that you're just starting, they were showing me that you've been on this path for a little while now, but you've been questioning it as little milestones come up. You then re-question, do I need to adjust anything? Is there anything else that I need to do? So that's very, very sort of healthy. So in the last couple of months, has there been a change in your attitude and the way that you're approaching things? Have you got a little bit more of a calmness there than what you had before?
Yeah, there has.
Yeah, well, that's good. I want to see you sort of try and build on that momentum of that, because that's you really sort of tapping into the inner core of you that's sort of saying, well, I know that this is right. It's not necessarily do I have all the answers, but I'm feeling comfortable with who I am and where I'm going and the direction that I seem to be, you know, putting into place. And that's a good thing. They're also showing me a question mark around where you're living, Nikki. So I'm going to take from that you've been questioning whether or not it's time for a change or time to make some modifications to where you're living now.
Yeah, well, I just moved in with my daughter, and I've been homeless for the past, 2 months. The last few months have been, I've been homeless, and I just recently moved in with my daughter, less than about a week ago. So,
right.
So I want to make sure that, I'm tired. Yeah, I'm tired of what I was doing. And I know that if I want something different, I got to do something different, and I just want to make sure that.
So
where I need to be.
This arrangement with moving in with your daughter I don't know that that's necessarily a long-term thing. To me, this is sort of like a stepping stone to where you need to be going. Is that how you see it?
Yeah, because I've been seeing somebody, and I was staying with him, and she wanted me closer. But we're both working on where we need to be, or where we want to be, or where we see ourselves. So yeah, this is definitely a stepping stone, not permanent.
Yeah, but that's good though, because I feel your daughter, and you need this time together. It's sort of like it's mending a lot of bridges there that were sort of not spoken about, but they were there, things that need to be resolved between the two of you. And this will give you both this opportunity to do this, but you're both coming together. It's like coming to the dining room table together as equals instead of mother and daughter, or one having more power over the other one. It's like we're sitting at the table together as equals and being able to be very open and very honest with each other and not sit in judgment about, well, maybe you shouldn't have done this or I shouldn't have done that. It's like really being able to put yourself in the other person's shoes. And from this, I think, is going to come a lot of healing, also a lot of progress. And it's also going to help both of you get on the rightful paths that you're going to be walking on for the future. It's like this is a major turning point for both of you. Look, I don't see that you'll be moving out of your daughter's anytime soon. I mean, when the time comes, it'll be the right time. There won't be an argument or anything. It'll just be it's the next natural progression in your life. But I do feel, Nikki, that you are taking your own power back more. For some reason or another, you lost it or you let go of it or you allowed other people to control and dominate you and guide your direction. You've now stopped that. You've said, no, hang on a minute, this is my life and I need to be the driver of my own car. And that's a good thing. And it's sort of like as each day goes past, you're getting stronger, you're getting healthier, you're getting much more clarity in your life about where you're going and what's happening. So is there a job situation that you've just taken on board too, Nikki?
Well, yeah, kind of. It's just nothing, and set in stone. It's just a little, I know I need money right now and to help out and stuff. And so my friend's working on, he wants to pay me to clean his house. And, it's nothing big or major, but it's definitely something that's going to be consistent, I think, because he needs help cleaning his house and making dinner and stuff like that. So, yeah, that just happened like an hour ago. So.
Oh, good. But I feel that there's more to come, Nikki. There's more to come. It's like your whole life has turned a corner. I've got somewhere to live. I've got an income coming in. I'm becoming stronger in myself. And as each day goes past, I'm shedding more and more and more of the old and becoming the new Nikki that I've been aspiring to become. And I want this to to keep becoming stronger, and I want to sort of really show the world that I'm proud of who I'm becoming, and that's a good thing. And it's like so many people used you in the past, and I feel now, Nikki, you're now able to let that go and not hold any sort of emotion there connected to it, sweetie, and that's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm battling, addiction. I'm battling addiction right now, so I've been clean, and yeah, so I feel good about myself and where I'm at. Just validation is important.
That's very good, sweetie. Well, keep on that path because you're on the right path, sweetheart, and keep giving yourself a pat on the back every day that you stay clean. That's one day closer to you really becoming the person that you want to become. And you're a role model for so many other people out there that can sort of that might be listening to this that have addiction problems for whatever reason, that, you've overcome them. You're taking it a day at a time, and they can too. So that's where we're going to leave it, Nikki. We're going to move on to Tammy in Kalamazoo in Michigan. Are you there, Tammy?
Yes, hi.
Hi, Tammy. How can I help you?
Oh, I was kind of wanting to connect with somebody if possible.
Okay, Tammy, there's no guarantees I can connect with who you want to connect with. If you want to fire a direct question at me, I'm happy to answer that for you. And if that particular person wants to come through and contribute, they will.
Okay. Because I don't want to give too much information away, but do you feel? I guess do you feel anything?
Sweetie, we've got such a limited space of time. For me to sort of try and tune in that way, we're not necessarily going to get what you want to know. If you've got a question, I'm happy to answer that. And then that will sort of open the door. If someone wants to come through from the other side with their particular message, they will add on to what we're going to be given.
Okay. My sister passed away. I was kind of wanting to know if she's like around a lot. Because I've had signs.
Oh, of course your sister's around a lot. They don't leave us as such. I mean, the two most important questions that people always ask about people that have passed over is, are they okay and are they with me? To answer both of those questions, I've never had anybody come through from the other side yet that told me that they weren't okay. They're always okay because you've got to understand when they cross over, they're no longer in pain. They're no longer in emotional pain. Whatever their vices were or the things that were troubling them or causing them physical or emotional pain here on earth are now gone. They go on to a place where they're free of those sort of things. And a lot of times when they come through, they don't always show you the age that they were when they departed the planet. They might come through and show you a time in their life where they felt particularly good about themselves, or they were empowered, or they liked the way they looked physically or whatever, and they'll present themselves in that way. Your sister has not left you as such. The physical body's gone, but the emotional body is still there. She's still with you. She still sees everything that goes on every day. And what she's sort of showing me is that you're in a major point in your life where you're at a crossroads where you need to be sort of being very decisive about the decisions or the choices that you want to make. She's saying to me, stop dithering. You've been sitting there sort of saying, oh, well, maybe I should, maybe I won't. Should I, shan't I? She's saying, stop that. Let's get some decisiveness back again. That's not you. It's not becoming. Start to sort of work out what it is you want and say, right, that's it. Now let's make it happen. She wants to see you get that back again, the ability to think on your feet. She's also sort of showing me there was a couple of question marks around her passing, as if you still feel that there's unanswered questions. Is that how you're seeing the situation?
A little bit. Oh, yeah, a little bit, I guess.
She's telling me there's no mystery about it. What you know is what actually happened. There's nothing that she's got to add to that. She's surprised and a bit disappointed, I think, in the way the family behaved after her passing.
Yeah, okay. Right?
She's she's not giving me specifics. She's just saying, I'm not happy about it, you know. So I can only take from that people's behaviour wasn't as she expected it should have been. Whether there was arguments or whether people tried to not honour her wishes, I'm not sure. She's not being specific with me. She's just saying they surprised me, and I'm not saying a surprise in a good way. She was quite upset about the way people sort of behaved. It should have been fairly straightforward, you know, that she wasn't a complicated woman. She didn't want a complicated departure. You know, she just wanted everything to be as it should be, normal and easy. You know, there was no reason for people to sort of pull it every which way. It was like everybody had a different opinion. But she's sort of saying to me that, you know, her major message to you is stop dithering, make your mind up and go for it. You know, like you've wasted too much time. Now live your life. If there's one thing you can do for her is show her that you can do that. She wants you to do it for yourself.
Okay. I'm good. I get it.
Yeah, and she's also sort of saying to me, don't take any notice of what anybody else wants. It's got to be about, Tammy, about being true to yourself. Anyway, Tammy, that's where we're going to leave it. We've only got a very short time of the show left now. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank everybody for joining us again this week. And if you have lost somebody, just please be rest assured that they are okay on the other side and they do know what's going on in our day-to-day lives. They don't always want to come and have a conversation about giving you a message or telling you what to do. They want you to live your life in your way, and they'll just be around you to lend a guiding hand or to keep an eye on things. But ultimately, it's our choice. It's our decisions, and the choices that we make here on earth still have to be ours. We can't be controlled or dominated or guided by the other side. They're only there to help us achieve what we decide that we need to do. So if you can bear that in mind, and next time you want to have a reading, don't necessarily ask to speak to the other side. Have your questions about what you need to have working in this lifetime. So until next week, bye for now.